Arkansas suffered a brutal loss on the road at the hands of Ole Miss in yet another very winnable one-possession game in the Sam Pittman era. And I'm going to give y'all some of my thoughts after what I just witnessed. But first, let me start by saying prayers for Arkansas defensive back Kenai Walker, who left the game on a stretcher after being kneed in the back of the head during the game. However, thankfully, as of the time I'm recording this, Sam Pittman says he does appear to be okay. And with that said, let's dive into this. Offensively, I think we lived up to the hype. I think we showed the potential that most of us already realize we have. Now, Taylor Green does got to continue to improve on protecting the football. He did put it in harm's way a couple of times, had some throws that could have been more costly than they ultimately were. But outside of that, a great overall performance for the offense, even despite the heartbreaking turnover at the end of the game when we were driving the football with an opportunity to work the clock and score a game-winning touchdown, which I will talk about in a little bit. But defensively, my goodness, there is nothing that could have prepared me for how awful we looked on that side of the football tonight. With all due respect, I'm just going to be brutally honest for a moment. To me, they looked like scared little boys out there pissing down their legs. It just simply looked like they were not ready to perform under the bright lights. I did not anticipate this defense being elite by any stretch of the imagination. I did not anticipate this defense being great, but I did dang sure anticipate them looking better than what they showed out on that field tonight. I can live with getting beat. What I cannot live with is consistently looking lost, consistently having missed assignments and blown coverages and being completely out of position. And surely all of those guys know, without me having to say it, that their play tonight was pathetic and unacceptable. And now I want to take some time to talk about the performance of our head coach, Sam Pittman. Love the guy and want him to succeed as much as anyone. I love all these players and coaches and want them to succeed at the highest level. I will never be against them, but I will continue to be honest in my evaluations of their performance. And once again tonight, in my opinion, Sam showed no growth in his ability to manage a football game. Starting with the very first drive, Arkansas gets the ball, is off to a hot start right out of the gates, quickly crosses the 50-yard line and stalls a bit to a 4th and 2 situation at, I believe it was the 42-yard line. And instead of going for it with arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the entire country and an offense that, as I said, was already moving the ball well, what does he do instead? Sends out a true freshman kicker in his first time in an SEC road environment to try to make a 50-plus yard field goal. So instead of riding the momentum of the opening drive with his star quarterback, like I think a good coach would have done in that situation, he chooses to send out a freshman kicker in a unfavorable situation. He misses the field goal. Momentum immediately flips over to Ole Miss, which they take advantage of by pounding it into the end zone and striking first blood. Then fast forward to the end of the first half, Arkansas is driving the field in the red zone with under 2 minutes to go, an opportunity to milk some more clock before putting it into the end zone to give Ole Miss's offense as little time as possible, because at this point we already have become fully aware, all right, our defense is playing like hot garbage, we can't stop a nosebleed. But because we're not coached up well enough in that situation, we're snapping the ball with 20 seconds left on the play clock, pretending like game clock management doesn't even exist. And then, of course, once again, Ole Miss takes advantage, drives the field, and kicks a field goal to go ahead at the half. That situation wasn't as bad to me as the first drive decision. However, it is another situation where a better coached team manages it more efficiently and potentially keeps Ole Miss from having that opportunity to take the lead. And now, finally, let's take a look at that last drive of the game, to the fumble which potentially cost Arkansas the opportunity to win the game. In my opinion, a smarter head coach is running the football there. They're not passing the football. And although it's not like it was an interception, I get that. I get that the coach can't control that the wide receiver fumbled. However, they can control where the ball is going. And I guarantee that Mike Washington Jr. or Braylon Russell are a lot less likely to fumble the ball in that situation than that 170-pound wide receiver, Jaylen Brown. To me, it was just another slight instance of not knowing how to utilize your personnel to its maximum potential. Once again, you're in a situation under 2 minutes to go, near the red zone. You're trying to milk the clock and score the game-winning touchdown. You're rushing for over 6 yards per carry. Your offensive line is getting after their defensive front and handling their business. You talk about wanting to be a tough, physical, hard-nosed running football team, and then when the perfect opportunity presents itself to be that, you put it in the air. Was it a terrible play call? No, not by any means. Should the player have fumbled the ball? Obviously not. But the better play call, the better decision in that situation to me would have been to undoubtedly try to impose your will. Try to pound it down their throat, milk the clock, and score the game-winning touchdown with no time for Ole Miss to respond. If they force you to throw the ball, then so be it. But make them force you to throw the ball. Am I being a little bit nitpicky? Yes, I'll admit that to some extent. But there has been several instances over Sam Pittman's career, like the ones that I'm mentioning right now, where if he does manage the game better, his record in one-possession games wouldn't be so abysmal. Like I said, I love Sam Pittman, and I will always try to support him and all the players and all the coaches to the fullest. But part of love is honesty. And speaking honestly, I just haven't seen anything from Coach Pittman over his tenure here at Arkansas to lead me to believe he has what it takes to be a good in-game manager. I like a lot of his coaching hires. I like a lot of the players he's bringing in. I think he's assembled a pretty talented football team this year. But in terms of being able to maximize them to their full potential on game day, I just haven't seen it. Tonight was a measuring stick game. And unfortunately, we saw that the Hogs are not where they need to be right now. This was an opponent I essentially said all week that Arkansas could, and in my opinion, should beat, and I still feel that way after this game. Credit to Ole Miss, they handled their business, even with their backup quarterback, who, sadly, we made look like a Heisman contender. But all that aside and all that said, Arkansas now already finds themselves in a big gut check situation in this early portion of the season. And my hope for them is just simply that they don't allow this loss to define who they are going to be the rest of the season. I still see their potential, but it's up to them to look within and dig deep individually and come together collectively and make that potential come to fruition. But I reckon that's all I got for now, guys. Thank y'all for y'all's time. Thank y'all so much, as always, for all the love and support. And until next time, I pray the good Lord keeps you all safe and blessed. And, of course, go Hogs!